Hey everybody, Amala here, psychologist, fellow private practice owner. Of course, I'm a private practice business coach and mentor, but most importantly, I am your Elevate 2020 host. What is Elevate 2020? Of course, it is the inaugural Private Practice Success Conference taking place in July, more specifically 29 and 30 July in sunny Vegas. There's no better place to be in winter than Brisbane. So hop on to www.elevate2020.com.au and check it out. But let's start talking about today's topic. Now, the topic that I put in for this live stream is called, is fear of success holding you back? Is it making you stay small? Is it stopping you from elevating, right? From stepping things up? Now, I think we can all agree that, it's very common to suffer or have to struggle with fear of failure, right? A lot of us struggle with that. A lot of us like to stay in our comfort zone in order, to stay safe and not fail. Hey, Amanda, how are you? How's things on the Goldie? And I think fear of success is just as prominent as fear of failure. It is just not talked about that often, right? Because I think a lot of people judge the fact that somebody might be struggling with fear of success. It's like, what? You scared to be successful? What's wrong with you, right? We can all have empathy and we can all understand easily fear of failure. Nobody likes to fail, right? Nobody likes to maybe be embarrassed depending on what type of failure you have, all of those type of things. So we can more easily put ourselves in other people's shoes in terms of understanding fear of failure. Which I suspect is why fear of success doesn't get talked about that often. But it actually exists. Amanda, I would love to hear whether you actually see that in your private practice. I know I have seen that a lot. And actually, between me and you, I have struggled with that myself. Okay, so what is fear of success then? So fear of success is really when people fear the emotional pains or the emotional consequences that could occur as a result of being successful. Now you might ask, what the hell is that, Gerda? That could be stuff like, if my business or my practice is all of a sudden successful, it might mean more time away from my kids. It might disrupt the family roles in the house, right? It might disrupt social relationships, i.e. friendships. Maybe if your business is very successful and you've got a colleague or a friend and they're really struggling, or they feel like they are stuck in a dead-end job, it might impact that relationship. They might become resentful or jealous. Anything could happen. And it's all the changes that comes with it. What is the sacrifices that I might need to make once I'm successful in order to stay successful, right? There's so many things that, could lead to emotional difficulties when I become successful. And a lot of times, 9 out of 10 times, it is the impact on the relationships with the people around us that people are very fearful of. I'm sure you've heard of tall poppy syndrome, right? I know that I for sure have been a victim of that. That is when somebody gets successful and then all of a sudden everybody else wants to tear them down, wants to judge them, etc., etc. So my message for you today is this. If you are struggling with fear of success, don't think that there's something wrong with you. It is pretty common, all right? And yes, you can struggle with fear of failure and struggle with fear of success. Those two things can coexist. I think to some extent, it's even just more debilitating, right? Fear in itself is a debilitating emotion. I know in terms of, my clinical work as a clinical psychologist, I work with a lot of anxiety disorders. That was like my special interest area, anxiety and trauma. And I know how hard it can be to face our fears, right? And fear of failure and fear of success, which has a direct impact on our social relationships. The emotional consequences attached to it is very big motivators or potentially inhibitors of motivation, right? Doesn't mean we can't address it. So I want to share with you 3 things that you need to keep in mind if you struggle with fear of success. First and foremost, step number 1, I want you to remind yourself that you are part of something larger, okay? You've got a vision, you've got a purpose for why you are here and why it is that you do. So when fear of success pitches up and it comes knocking on your door, I want you to reconnect with your why. Why is it that you're doing this thing that you are doing? Doesn't matter how big or small, okay? Step number 2, I want you to remind yourself that doesn't matter what you do, who you are, how you do what you do, where you do it, there will always be people that can't deal with it, okay? It's just how life is, right? And backbiting and gossiping and people trying to drag you down, it's probably gonna happen. You may or may not be aware of it, you may or may not hear about it, but it's happening. So we really need to accept that that is part of human nature, okay? And really have empathy for where that person is coming from, but not let that stop you from doing what you need to do. So step 1, reconnect with your why. Step 2 is know that people are people. People are human beings, and sometimes other people's successes bring out the worst in us, okay? And step number 3, just be you. Be your true self, your authentic self. Be who you are and go to hell with the rest. Okay, that's the 3 things that you need to hang on to when fear of success comes knocking. Now, you may or may not know, if you've been to the Elevate 2020 website, that fighting fear is actually an integral part of what we're going to talk about over the 2 days at Elevate 2020. It is actually the 2nd section on day 1. So the morning of day 1, we're talking foundations. Second part of day 1, we are talking fighting fear. And that is where fighting that fear of failure as well as fighting that fear of success comes in, right? That feeling of sometimes feeling like an imposter, feeling not worthy enough, either to step into greatness by fighting fear of failure or by allowing yourself to have the success, right? It's all that mindset stuff that can hold us back, that can keep us playing small, even though we've got such amazing potential. I have spoken to so many lovely, fabulous, gorgeous ladies, also a couple of guys, because, you know, our industry is mostly female, but a lot of guys as well. And the impact they want to create in this industry, their message is just, you know, it just warms my heart. It can be, it's very overwhelming sometimes listening to the stories of where they're coming from, like overwhelming in like in a happy, sad way, in terms of going, geez, you know, they've got such an important story to tell. They've got such an important message to share with the world. And I, for one, are always encouraging people to fight those fears that we're having that's keeping us small, right? So that's day 1, the second part. Then day 2, we're talking about frameworks in the morning. And then in the afternoon, we're talking about freedom. And the thing is this, you cannot get to freedom without fighting the fear. So that's what we're going to do. So I would love to see you at Elevate 2020. Please know that you can still get early bird tickets if you get your tickets before March, the end of March. Yes, the last day of March. But don't wait until then. You may or may not know this. You should. But every month I am releasing a free bonus training. So the month within which you purchase your tickets, you will get the free bonus training for that month. So let's say if you purchase your tickets in February, you will get the February free training, and you will then also get the March, April, May, and June, like 4 months of training still after this month. All right, so that you can pitch up at Elevate 2020 already in an elevated state of knowledge, learning, strategies, and mindset, and then we're just going to transform and skyrocket your mindset from there. I can't wait to see you at Elevate 2020. Hop onto the website, get your tickets, come and join us. Come join the transformation. Have a beautiful week, and I'll speak to you soon. Let's elevate.